So welcome to the next Universal Grounding. This is a session designed to really bring you into a place of connection, more than just your body, more than just the earth, into that place that knows itself as a spark of divinity that runs through both, uniting all. So the way we start, the way I invite you to start, is we're going to bring that divinity into you. But first, I just want you to take a moment. So we're all together. As soon as you joined the group, you entered into this sacred space. So I want you to take a moment. Just notice the stillness around you. It's going to shift in just a minute after we do this next exercise. I want you to take a couple of deep breaths, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. There's a couple of wise sages that says you can wake up just by breathing correctly. Most all of us breathe shallow, probably unconsciously. And so breath work is a really powerful way to bring energy, chi, presence into your physical body. And so we're welcoming divine guides. They're a team of beings. A lot of divine mother energy, master healers energy, Shakti and Shiva balancing out, as well as earth elementals, Mother Earth. We have celestials and the Angel Jophiel. Angel Jophiel has been working with me since I've been a child, but only recently has kind of come forward. As everything in my life, things just trickle in slowly, which I find such a blessing, because when it trickles in, I never take anything for granted. I find it all so blessed. So the Angel Jophiel is coming into your system, and she's going to come in through the crown, settle into your heart and spine on the count of 3, 2, 1. Angel Jophiel is angel of illuminating beauty. Illuminating beauty is helping you find the joy, the hope, everything that's beautiful in the world within you. But in order to illuminate beauty, it illuminates what isn't beautiful. And so that's kind of her purpose. So the Angel Jophiel joining you to represent your needs specifically, get what you need, how you need it, where you need it. And just again, notice that to me it feels like a sense of home. So the second thing we're going to do is bring that divinity into our body. We're going to physicalize it. So in order to do that, I'm going to ask you to chant the sound of Om 3 times. Remember that breath that we were just doing? So we're going to take a deep breath 3 times, and on the out breath, say the sound of Om. Om is a sound of the divine, and if you can join out loud on your end, please do so. And if not, just allow the vibration to move in, around, and through you. So you ready? First breath in. Second breath in. And the third breath in. Now do another check-in. Is there more quiet in your body? Is there more quiet in this space? More stillness, more silence, more peace? And there is no right or wrong answer here. Whatever is happening is exactly what it should be. So the intention for Trinity, because Trinity works by just recognizing it, calling it in, realizing that you are Trinity. So it kind of bubbles up from within. And then you give it a focus. So to me, if you ever read the book Real Magic by chief scientist at the Institute of Noetic Science, Dean Radin, so he studied all these different experiments and magical processes throughout the world. He said there's only 3 elements needed to make magic. You need a tool, you need fuel, which is the divine, and the third thing is you need intention. Give it a focus. So Trinity is both the tool and the divinity. You're actually a tool. You're finding it within yourself. And Trinity is the bridge to divinity within, inviting you to find it. So the intention today is just to sample universal grounding in the way that this group needs. And we'll see where it takes us. I tend to follow focal points. We're going to follow the chakras generally, starting with the center of the earth, because it's inviting us to reconnect to our earth and being. And these are focal points. They're also happen to correspond with chakras, which are energy centers within the body. And so just imagine that you're breathing down. Oh, okay. Yeah, before we do that, every time we have new people, update your grounding cord. So when you come into the planet, you all have a grounding cord that is calibrated to the time you came in. And so we're just going to upgrade it for some of you, which is going to help you. There we go. Ground so much more easier. It's kind of like, the software updates you get, just like that. Wonderful. So it's going to be much smoother connecting. So inviting you again to follow your grounding cord, which is at the base of your spine. And just breathe down through the chair you're sitting on, into the floor, the sub-basement, through the top layer of the soil and the various geological layers of the soil. The shale, the rock, maybe there's a water table, out into more charcoal and condensed layers, all the way into the molten core. We're going to invite you to plug into the heart of Gaia, this crystalline ball. Gaia is a dimensional being, alive with sentience. And so you're plugging in like an umbilical cord, and we're going to gather this nutritional essence. Pull it back. The intention here is to have it merge and fuse with every part and particle of your physical body, and also help you align and balance your energetic body. Your energetic body is quite complex on a dimensional scale. It's hard to imagine when you're in this dimension what your dimensionality is. kind of like a bug on the back of your patio doesn't know it's a part of a neighborhood, a state, a country, a world, a universe. It just says, no, I'm a bug walking around the back of the patio. And that's what we are until, again, our awareness expands. So it's taking its time. Yep. So we're just going to sit here in the center of the earth because there's some stuck energy here for some of you. And it's a fear of belonging. So your ancient self, your magical self, your interconnected self lost its way a long time ago, like Hansel and Gretel. Remember that fairy tale? By the way, magic has been relegated to myth and symbol, fairy tales and stories. But it's real. Fairies exist, sprites exist, dragons exist. They're just not frequentially on the same vibrational plane. Our planet is quite dense. So the process of awakening is really lightening up the planet through you, as you, with you. So we're here at the center of the earth, pointing at a pattern of fear. It says, I don't know what it's like to be connected like that in the earth, to the earth, as the earth, which is natural. Have you ever gone to a foreign country where you don't know a lick of the language? You don't know where you are. You can't read the signs. Maybe you have to drive and you're driving on the opposite road and you're so lost and somewhat fearful, right? Because you can't really get your bearings until, of course, you become acclimated. And so it's that same sense here in the center of the earth, this fear of being lost, this fear of not belonging, this fear of not knowing how to connect on the kind of level that it takes to embody this connection, live it, know it. You hear me probably say knowing a lot here today. So we're just going to sit here in the center of the earth. There we go. And it gently shifted. And a smile is starting to arise. Because that disconnect, I'm trying to think of a metaphor. Think of that disconnect like a veil, like a big, thick curtain where you couldn't see outside. And you're in that foreign country and you're like, oh, I don't want to open that curtain. What's out there? It's going to be different. It's going to be dark. It's going to be scary. And you throw open the curtain and it's the most beautiful mountain scene. And so there's that fear of what's behind the curtain. We shifted in the center of the earth, like part of you that has forgotten how to belong and now is starting to remember. And as it's remembering, there's like this shy smile starting to form, which will grow more and more as we continue this session. It's like this knowing smile. Have you ever had a secret and you're in a group and you know something and the others don't, and you just have this effervescence inside of you, like a kid, like, oh, I want to tell, but I'm not going to, and it's going to be such a surprise when everybody finds out. It's that kind of effervescence that's starting to bubble up. So what we're going to do is we're going to put structures in that effervescence. These are aligning structures, reorienting structures, awakening structures. Awakening in the sense that forgetfulness is the conditioning of consciousness that is stuck in old patterns. If you look at the history of the earth, remember, and I'm just going to give you this, I can't prove it for a fact, but more or less 99.9% of our human existence has been a relational universe, has been one where we interrelated with the world around us, that was normal. And it's only been in the last 3,000, 5,000, definitely 500 years where we've shifted into this unconscious, social, quote unquote, modern culture where we relegate that kind of magic to myth, to fairy tale. We demonize it. We co-opt it. We point to Jesus and we give him certain human qualities. Same with God. Same with angels. Same with dragons. We use it to entertain us and our kids, but it's not a lived reality. So there was a point in time where this lived reality was who we are. So it's starting to smile within you, and we're going to watch it grow. So awakening structures, awakens you to that reality, and the other reality of fear, this not belonging, is a conditioned pattern. That's an illusion that you're asleep in. So that's why we call it awakening. And so now we're going to move up to the next subroot, first chakra, or the earth star. It's a couple feet below your feet, and it's how you feel about connecting to the earth. Yep, and there's the same stuck energy. This is a little thicker, more palpable, more karmic and resistance, avoidance, just like, yeah, no, that doesn't, it's not my reality. It's just like heavy, constricted, instead of a curtain or veil, it's a block, like a wall. Forgetfulness. And at the center of the earth, there was a fear of belonging. Here, there's just apathy. And I'm going to use this word, but it's not going to mean what you think it means. There's an ignorance, that just doesn't know that on the other side of the wall is this, for lack of a better word, this paradise. But this other universal way of being. And so here in the Earth Star, the pattern that we're following is helping you reconnect and finding different issues. So here in the Earth Star, there's a sense of not belonging, but a sense of not belonging based in ignorance. Like, I just don't know what I don't know. And what's the saying? You can't change consciousness from the level of consciousness that created it. Einstein, I think, said that. So what Trinity does is it just works with luminescence, the life force of light, but divine light. Clear light, the kind of light that human eye can't see, because again, we're in this focal point beyond space and time. The best way I can describe it is, have you ever watched a sunrise? And right at the moment when the sun peeks over horizon, there's just this glimpse, potential and possibility, where the night is starting to ebb and the dawn is starting to rise. It's pure potential, right? What is this new day is going to bring? And that to me feels like this space, this focal point. And so we allow this light to permeate, for lack of a better way, to really simplify the whole process. This darkness, this shadow of not belonging, that is completely ignorant, blind, doesn't see, doesn't know, doesn't want to know, because it's not going to, if it doesn't know, it's not even going to look. Until it just breaks, shifts, falls apart. And what bubbles up there is, again, this smile, this burgeoning. It's a seed of awareness. It's not fully there yet because it still coexists with the conditioned consciousness that doesn't know it's there, that is almost afraid of it. So we're going to allow it to build. And it just arises. Again, like we're pulling off layers of wet clothing, and underneath it, wet clothing is pushing down this foam that just wants to pop up and arise. Like the dawn of a new day. Instead of, it's a dawn of remembering who you are. So this smile is getting bigger. It's getting more pronounced. Starting to turn from a secret into a potential. And so now to continue the process, we're going to come into the root chakra. Again, we're just following these focal points, which act like layers of transformation, of breaking down, to create space for this universal grounding to become more of an active reality. But how do we do that? We have to clear what isn't grounded. We have to clear what isn't universally, quote unquote, known. And so right at the root chakra is that same block of unknowing, same block of illusion, same block, and we're going to call it ignorance, but it's not knowing. What I love about this work is it always, always, always parallels something that's going on in our society right now. Because I was told that we're working with up to 1,000 divine mothers at any one time, if not more. I'll just take 1,000 right now. And what they're doing is they're holding space for what we're doing to expand it exponentially out into the collective, as well as work on how the collective is interfaced with you. So that's kind of the secret sauce, this process, as it works on a collective level in ways that, you know, this little Betty sitting here is still figuring out. It's working in mystery. So there's this block of not knowing in the root chakra. And there's some righteousness about not knowing. Like, which should sound familiar out in the general public, that I'm okay with not knowing and you should not know too. And if we look back at the history of the evolution, or should we say de-evolution of human karma over, you know, the last 1,000, 3,000 years, it's been one of greed, of power, of corruption, of covering over beautiful, magical, effervescent ways. We're all interconnected, co-opting it, using it, taking holistic plants and medicines, the original way we healed, and synthesizing them, making them into drugs they can sell. It's co-opting all these beautiful processes for power, for money. And so there's a righteousness about being disconnected that says, I have a right not to know. I hope that makes sense, but that's right there in your root chakra. And remember, there's at least 1,000 divine mothers, if not myriads, of other divine helpers working on this same pattern within you, through you, into the collective. I find that absolutely breathtaking. Ooh, I didn't want to break down, but it did. It did. And the smile is taking a little longer to bubble forward because there's still a little bit of loss there. Oof. And some grief. Some yearning, some sense of, yeah, I kind of remember what that is, but not really. Root chakras filled with a lot of survival fear. There we go. Now that smile is starting to bubble up again. And it's a smile of inner knowing. The inner knowing that knows it belongs. So when we're working on a pattern, we always get its comparable blueprint. So the pattern of not belonging is what we started with. What's coming forward is a sense, well, you know what, you do belong in a greater universal way, in a way that, is mind-blowing, is expansive, but yet equally as present in the body within the earth. It's really quite a beautiful process when you think about it. Here we go. So the smile is building foundationally, fundamentally. But it's more like a relaxation. It's actually really very subtle because it's a reintroduction to the part of you you've always known. So I'm not a big fan of the word ascension because there's nowhere to go. Everything you are is already here. It's just covered over. It just unfolds. It just arises. You don't really ascend anywhere. And to me, that's just kind of a fantasy word. But there is a process of raising your vibration in a certain way that is helpful. But also the lower vibrations are equally as helpful because it shows you what pain is, and that pain that needs to be addressed. So it's not always about love and light. In fact, it's only 50% about love and light. The rest of that formula is to go into the dark, go into the pain, go into the processes, and unravel its attachment. Because it's the attachment that keeps you in these cyclical, repetitive, reinforcing behaviors and actions and conditioning. So you want to break that down. What breaks it? Awareness. How do you get awareness and wisdom? By sitting in your pain. So low vibrations are very important. Very important. Sometimes you hear me talking because energy is working behind the scenes, kind of like a puppet, show, oh, look at this hand, and, the other hand is really working deeply in something. And So there was a big pattern of avoidance there in your root chakra. Avoidance says, I'm okay with not knowing, and in fact, I'm going to avoid not knowing because avoiding not knowing is what I've always done. So I'm comfortable with that. And so we needed to distract your mind, distract your body, distract in a way where Source kind of can get into those areas for you, with you, as you. So the next focal point is your sacral chakra. It's about a couple inches below your belly button. Oof. And this is more potent fear. This is still heavy, not quite as block-like or dense as the lower focal points. What's in your belly and your gut. Is again that ignorance that doesn't know it belongs. So if it doesn't know it belongs, it keeps repeating the not belonging, the habits of not belonging, by virtue of that's all it knows. Hear me breathing like that? That's Shakti energy, which can tend to break down stuck patterns. Now, here in the sacral chakra is also a sense of enduring. Enduring. I don't know why they have me saying this word because it makes me giggle. Enduring the ignorance. It's not like I don't like using it. There are words that I tend not to use because they carry so much baggage. You say the word God, and to 50 different people, they'll have 50 different responses to that. So that's why Source likes me to call them Source, because it's not one being. It's the mystery that all beings pull from. It's the source of your divine deities, your divine expressions that form into qualities like compassion and love that Jesus consciousness offers, or the creativity that divine mothers offer, or the illuminating beauty that Angel Jophiel offers. Those are just expressions of the one source, of the great mystery. So not naming something has its value because your mind doesn't gravitate. But in this case, it wants you to focus on the word ignorance as a form of deconstructing its meaning. There's a little bit of that righteousness. When I say the word righteous ignorance, what does that mean to you? When we do our groups, we often at times have questions of awareness. To really help you get your awareness into these patterns in a way that maybe you haven't thought about before. And your awareness is your superpower. As it grows and deepens, it's what can break through. But it's hard to bridge into awareness individually through yourself, because your awareness can only see what it knows. So Trinity is a divine process of illuminating truth in a way that shows you what you don't know for you. And so there's an element of trust, element of faith, element of surrender and letting go, saying, it's okay that I don't know what I don't know. Because it's in that not knowing where all potential exists. And no, I'm not going to repeat that. I'm going to have to rewind and replay that. So this righteous ignorance wants you to focus on that. What does that mean? How is it manifesting? And it's kind of obvious in a certain way, but it's an energy that's all around us. So of course it's affecting you, like a swamp, like a soup we're all swimming in. But here's the thing, if you're triggered by it, it's also within you. Our triggers are perfect pointers for what's going on within you. And so here in the sacral chakra, there we go. And now that smile is bubbling up. It's a gentle smile. Remember, it's a subtle smile. This is just like an introduction. It's kind of like you can't grow a flower right away. You can go, hey, flower, sprout. and the seed says, no, hey, psst, you have to take me out of the package and put me in soil. And it needs to be like a finger length down, and you got to cover it over, and then you got to give me some water, and then that water needs to meet with sunlight and minerals and this whole process that takes as long as it takes. And so this is the seed of inner knowing. A part of you that knows it belongs. And if you replay this, that will only get deeper. Don't trust me? Try it. Beautiful. Now coming into the solar plexus. Solar plexus is your control center. Oh, yeah. And I would imagine it's bumping right up against that righteous ignorance that says, I don't want to know what I don't know, because that's all I know that I don't know. And this density is nothing but hardened conditioning. I haven't talked about it too much, but where multidimensional healing works, where Trinity works, is in a quadruple place of conditioning. Works deeply in your genetics, in your ancestral history. It works in your incarnational body. That's your karmic history. That's comes from your past lives. It works in your present life, and the divine webbing, the divine intercession that weaves them all together. Oh, there's 5, as well as the collective. I always forget that because it is a given. It's like we're not actively even working on that because it's being done for us from the moment we start. From actually the moment you decide to come here, it's already starting. So this hardened conditioning in your solar plexus is made up of all the history stories from your past life that forgot that it knew about its magic, all your ancestors' conditioning that probably contributed to this sense of not knowing. Your current life and the collective consciousness that supports it. There we go. Do a little Shakti breathing because there's another layer of stuckness here that just says, I'm okay with not knowing. I'm just going to sit here not knowing for as long as I cannot know. Trust me, that made sense to your conditioning. There's a gentle relaxing going on in your solar plexus, but it's going to take longer than we have in our little sample healing to get through it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put special structures in your solar plexus and the focal point that we're working on here. Which will continue to work for the next 20 minutes. They're called stop and unravel. It's stopping this pattern and unraveling it, disentangling it. That helped. And now that smile starting to rise. Again, this smile feels like a dawn, like it's just starting to peak over and it's going to eventually grow into a big, huge sun. But right now, it's just seeds of a dawn waiting to arise. Instead of a dawn of a new day, it's a dawn of a new knowing, a new way of being with your knowing. And now, of course, we come into the heart chakra. And because we worked foundationally, the upper chakras go a little bit faster. Although, again, the solar plexus needed some more time. If you feel like it, go replay it. Whew. And in the heart is like a bit of shock. Like the sense of not belonging was very painful at a certain juncture. There we go. Here's some grief. Ooh. Grief tinged with fear and loss. This is your heart feeling really intimately that loss of belonging, of not fitting in, of losing that magical universality that knew itself only through its interconnections and the promise that it all held. A little bit of anger and righteousness in there, but Source is being very kind. Source has told me that when you show up, it not only meets you halfway, it actually does the bulk of the heavy lifting. So that's what Trinity offers too, this sacred space where you're meeting at a focal point between time, between worlds, where all the future yous, all the divine beings interested in assisting the planet's evolution are showing up to meet you, to serve you, to help you, to assist you. And what you're not seeing is like the tip of the iceberg, all that stuff below. Dimensional blueprints that I described earlier, the conditioned consciousness, everything that you forgot because we're not supposed to remember all our past lives. We're not supposed to remember our ancestral blueprints. We're not supposed to remember all the way collective consciousness interferes with us. Because that's the way we've been conditioned. There we go. We may go a couple minutes long just by sensing where we are in the heart. And putting structures in the heart for when you replay this, it'll go deeper. And there's that smile Starting to get a little bit stronger now. That sense of inner knowing. It's amazing that sense of inner knowing was the strongest at the center of the earth and also here in the heart. Sense of inner knowing that just, I have a secret. I know what you all should be knowing. And I tell you, but you're kind of stuck in righteous ignorance. It's a great word for part of humanity, isn't it? No judgment here. No judgment. Everyone is in their own process of exploring or not. And now coming into the throat focal point. And there's that same sense of loss, that same sense of longing. And the inability to express it. Because you don't know what you don't know. Throat chakra opening up to the extent that it's ready. And putting structures in. If there's more work you feel you need there, you can always pause this if you're replaying and let it work. There's that sense of the smile bubbling up now into your focal point around your throat, throughout its energy center. And now coming into the brow and opening the crown. It's not a lot of karma in there, but there's some, so we're going to focus on the brain, the neural pathways, the senses of seeing, of smell, of taste, of hearing. Yeah, there's again a sense of not belonging, not knowing that you don't belong. Going into the specific areas of the brain, prefrontal cortex, the brain stem, pituitary, following all the way down this nervous system, the vagus nerve into the legs. Now going up to your soul star, your upper chakras, reconnecting them. Now bringing in a whole body sense, activating a more crystalline awareness. When we clear density, it's an organic physiology. It's very organic, it's very constricted and dense and heavy. And the energies coming in are more crystalline, more lighter, more filled with this sacred geometry. Why? Because sacred geometry is the mathematics of frequency. It is the mathematics of nature. So for the remaining minutes, just opening up this whole body awareness. Again, it just still feels like a burgeoning dawn, like dawn is just about ready to break. Beautiful. And so now, because we did do some heavy lifting here and shifting and reorienting, what I'm going to do is just a little brief integration, but sometimes a little is enough. So we're just going to do some general integrating all space, all time, all realities, all dimensions, all realms, all fields, interdimensionally, physicalizing the shifts. That's really important, and catching everything up. To me, this feels like puzzle pieces coming back together or a gentle settling. Integrating the brain, the nervous system, all the organs, the pathways, the energy bodies, the chakras, the life field, the intelligence system, cellular function, whole energy system, and all of consciousness. As we integrate those seeds of smiling, that sense that you know that you belong to your core. A core truth is something that never changes. This sense of knowing has never changed. It's always been there. Again, 99.9% of human existence has known that it's known. It's only in the last few thousand years where we've all forgotten. Isn't that amazing? So it's actually really strong within us. And transforming all the conditioning that covers it over is a wonderful gift that you're giving to yourself, to your families, and of course to the planet. That's why I call it earthwork. Some people see it as slow and tedious. I just see it as hope. It's hope arising, like this seeds of belonging that are slowly becoming rooted, sprouting. As you integrate, things are falling into place, which allows that smile to arise like a new dawn. How beautiful is that? So do you see how universal grounding works when you surrender to listen? And you have this potential too. That's the knowing of belonging that arises within you. But the noise of this crazy, chaotic world prevents us, as well as the conditioning that we just hit today that said, I know I don't know and I'm okay with not knowing. Did you know that was even an issue? Of course it is. Because we've all grown up, unless we've had a lot of cosmic experiences and have been pulled to do this work, we've all grown up with religious patterns that say this doesn't exist, with science that says this doesn't exist, with storybooks that make this all into mythology. Or worse, demonize it. I almost didn't go into this work because I thought I would lose my family. Because of their belief systems were so strong and righteously ignorant. Oh, there we go. Slap to my forehead. Not in a bad way. There's no judgment here. There's no judgment. Everyone has their own karmic journey to follow or not to follow. But if you make a conscious choice, this work, this universal grounding, where, hey, come on back next month. We're going to do it all over again and see what else you need and see how this seed developed and has grown since then. If you feel called to do more, come on over to our groups. We'd love to have you. That seed will continue to sprout and grow, and will continue to clear the manure and swamp and refuse, refuse that we've collected over a couple thousand years of human karmic existence. Oh, how fun! But when we do it as a group, and when Source shows up, and when magic happens, it's a fascinating process. So the Angel Jophiel coming in to sprinkle some seeds of hope, seeds of light, seeds of sprouting into those areas that are still in a place of forgetfulness. Thank you to the Angel Jophiel for that gift. We always end the same Sanskrit mantra. And it's the Sanskrit mantra that acts like a prayer. And in translation, the words mean, may we be led from untruth to truth, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May we be conduits for freedom and peace on the earth. Asatoma Sakamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Yatyorma Tramgamaya, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Guryo Namaha. Bring in some love and some gratitude to amplify and strengthen the movements, amplify the reorientation, the alignment, the activation, and just to share in frequency of gratitude. Gratitude for Angel Jophiel for guiding our way, for Source and all its myriad of beings and deities and presence. Thank you to you for listening and being here today and allowing me to be a conduit. Taking a deep breath, bring you up and out of the space of grace. It is done. It is complete. So it is, so it is, so it is. Till next time, be blessed.